Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will take you to the journey through the defamation case of Muhammad Apandi Ali versus Lee Kip Siang. The case involved the defamation claims against former Attorney General of Malaysia, Lim Kip Siang, for the publication of an article titled Dangerous Fallacy to Think Malaysia on the Road to Integrity. Here's the introduction of the case. The plaintiff insistence on closing investigation website Internet Task Force recommendation cast suspicions on his actions in one MDB scandal. Plaintiff refusal to accept a mutual legal assistance from Swiss Attorney General and US Department of Justice weakened his credibility as a witness. The court found plaintiff's evasiveness, inconsistent statement, and contradicted evidence as the only person vested with the power to seek or offer mutual legal assistance. The court questioned the relevance of Department of Justice prosecutions and asset recovery proceeding to Ali. Defendant defense of justifications and fair comment analyzed finding a concrete evidence to justify defamatory imputations. Case analysis. The plaintiffs adopted a hasty donation narrative despite knowing the donor name and monies were from SRC, a former subsidiary of 1MDB. Insistence of not investigating website SRC monies defeating the domination narrative confirmed by Dato' Lee Cheng Wee, a member of a Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission task force. A plaintiff action lead to suspicions and questions due to his inaction. Defendant provide a concrete evidence to justify defamatory imputation and reasonable ground for investigations. The defense of justice was sufficiently proven even without a substantial evidence. Muhammad Apandi Ali defamation case. Muhammad Apandi Ali, a former Attorney General of Malaysia, criticized the Rome Statute in the International Criminal Court. Ali was appointed in 2015 after Abdul Ghani Party was sacked. Ali personally exonerated and cleared known suspect and conspirator of the 1MDB scandal. Ali claimed the defendant's statements were defamatory, tarnishing his reputation. The defendants argued his comments were defamatory and should be contextualized. The court emphasized actionable defamations to maintain a balance in the country affairs. Determining a defamation case involves determining if a statement is defamatory and it is justifiable, fair comments, or privilege. Defamation defense in Malaysia based on the court. The court through defense can rely on subsequent events for a justification but must have a causal connections between in punch, word, and the subsequent events. Tan Sri Dato Sri Dr. Mahadevan V. Dr. Jayatam Mahalingam Ratnavir provided guidance on defendants' elections about plaintiff irregularities. Court disagree with the plaintiff objections that refers to Muhammad Nazlan SRC decisions is aliegating the SRC trial. Defendant must prove imputations are substantial true. Defendant's evidence include a plaintiff decisions to exonerate Najib Razak acceptance of a fiscal donation by Saudi royalty, indifferent attitude, and a refusal to accept the offer legal assistance for one MDB scandal. The case summary: Muhammad Apandi Ali versus Lim Kit Siang. Plaintiff's magnanimous decision to absolve and exonerate Najib Razak. The plaintiff's decisions to absolve and exonerate Najib Razak refer to the donation narrative is significant. The plaintiff's self-contradictory testimony, evasiveness, and outright untruths are seen as evidence of disregard for a basic rules of law and a common sense. The plaintiff's actions during his tenure as the Attorney General absolved and exonerated the perpetrator of a 1MDB scandal, leading to a cover-up. Second, the Lim Kit Siang versus the Malaysian bar refusal to prosecute Najib Razak. The court found the plaintiff alleged cover-up of the 1MDB scandal could be lesser defamatory meanings, indicating a reasonable ground for investigations. The court affirmed that the statement still carries a libelous sting, albeit a lesser one. Primary issue on the irrelevancy and scope of the appeal court dismissals of the Malaysian bar bid to review the plaintiff's refusal to prosecute Najib Razak. The court addressed the plaintiff's stance to claim non-justiciable and non-violable authority in exercising his discretions as the then Attorney General. The court emphasized the non-justiciability and non-reviewability of the plaintiff's prerogative is not a bar or restraint against a public scrutiny, dialogue, investigation, or commentary. Primary issue on the scope of the fact, event, and the evidence that this court can consider. The court argued that the court can only determine the defendant's defense based on the fact available at the material times of in-punch statement was published. The plaintiff's response to SRC monies. The plaintiff's response to 2.6 billion paid to Najib Razak personal account was a donation from the Saudi royal family. The transfer of 42 million from SRC to Najib Razak personal account was not criminally wrong. Second, the plaintiff in part of press statement and untruthness. The plaintiff press statement, which claimed to have personal made and confirmed the alleged donation by the Saudi royal family, is untrue. The plaintiffs admit to adopting the donation narrative without a direct evidence, preferring to rely on his delegation hearsay evidence. Third, the suspiciousness and the reason of investigation. The plaintiff hastily adopted the donation narrative phrase questions about the source of the donation and investigation process. The case summary for Muhammad Apandi Ali versus Lim Kit Siang. The plaintiff's decisions to absolve Najib Razak and accept a donation narrative raised a suspicious and a cover-up. Plaintiff's evasive stance and her lack of documentary evidence suggests he was not a part of the delegation of Riyadh. Plaintiff's lack of knowledge, then disregard the evidence law is a question. The plaintiff admit that some monies were transferred from SRC, a former subsidiary, to 1MDB, not from any Saudi royal account. During a press conference, a flow chart showed funds were transferred into Najib Razak's personal account from SRC, not any account of Saudi royalty. The case highlights the needs for more rigorous investigations and documentation in the case of cover-up. The Court of Appeal upheld Muhammad Nazlan's findings of fact. Here's come to the conclusions of the case regarding the case involving defamation claims against the former Attorney General of Malaysia Lim Kit Siang for the publication of the article. The plaintiff's insistence on the closing investigation, despite the Internal Task Force recommendation, cast suspicions on his actions or inactions in the 1MDB scandal. Plaintiff's refusal to accept a mutual legal assistance from the Swiss Attorney General and the US Department of Justice weakens his credibility as a witness. The court found the plaintiff's evasiveness, inconsistent statements, and the contradictory previous documentary evidence to be the only person vested with the power to seek the offer of mutual legal assistance. The court questioned the relevance of the Department of Justice prosecutions and asset recovery proceeding to Ali and the plaintiff's refusal to accept the mutual legal assistance. The defendant's defense of justifications and the fair comment was analyzed, finding that the defendant has presented the concrete evidence to justify his defamatory imputation. The court rules that the public officers and the member of the parliament has the right to express the thought of the public if they are conscious of the defendant have exercised the responsible journalism. That's all for me. Thank you.